residents volunteering any information on wanted criminals. KTN's Betty Kyalo kicks off our coverage tonight with this story.
In a bid to restore security in Garissa, the government has ordered a heavy deployment of General Service Unit and the Rapid Deployment Unit in the town. Reports indicate that the security apparatus is currently conducting a massive operation sweeping through the town. A high-level team of investigators from Nairobi has also been dispatched to fast-track investigations. So far, a senior CID officer and 9 others have been interdicted for collaborating with criminals responsible for killings in the town. In a statement sent to newsrooms, the top security bosses, who seem to be working on overdrive, have also ordered the arrest of all aliens for repatriation after conviction in court. Additionally, there has been enhancement of patrols and roadblocks in the town, with hotel owners being asked to closely monitor visitors booked in hotels and those renting residential houses. The security restoration efforts come after President Uhuru Kenyatta gave orders following recent cold-blood killings in the town. According to intelligence reports, Kenya's incursion into Somalia could be the best bet for these attacks, described as revenge missions.
The Kenyan Defense Forces went to Somalia and they destroyed the infrastructure of Al-Shabaab. So we expect that there is a retaliation because of our engagement in Somalia.
But this is just the official explanation. KTN has now learned that it's not just about settling of scores. There is a deeper motivation into these attacks: business. Reports reaching us indicate that the financiers of the attacks are willing to do anything to protect their businesses, which largely involve sugar.
Kama ni usalama unaletwa na biashara haramu. Kama ukosefu wa usalama unaletwa na ugaidi. Hiyo ni jukumu la serikali kutatua.
When the Kenya Defense Forces took over the port of Kismayo, which was the epicenter of illegal businesses, many business owners were destabilized. This created a dire need for a shortcut into bringing goods, including sugar, into the country. Reports indicate that goods that come from Kismayo come into the country through Garissa and later taken to Isli, where they are distributed to various parts of the country. Speaking during a church function, Deputy President William Ruto today echoed the president's sentiments on security, saying that the government would spare no one responsible for insecurity.
We are committed as a government to ensure that the property, the business, the life of every citizen is safe.
Attention is on the government, with many hoping that these cartels that have turned to killing innocent Kenyans will not have their way. For KTN, I'm Betty Kyalo.
Well, President Uhuru Kenyatta could unveil his cabinet on Tuesday, bringing to an end days of speculation and anxiety within political circles. Now, President Uhuru is reportedly waiting for Parliament to form the committee on appointments before unveiling his cabinet nominees. KTN's Ashimulu now reports on the process of vetting and appointing cabinet secretaries.
The week that will shape President Uhuru Kenyatta's reign has just begun. It's the week that he will finally unveil the men and women he has picked to head his government's 18 ministries, nominees that will immediately become the subject of public scrutiny. By Tuesday, Parliament will have formed a special committee to vet these nominees. But how well do you understand this process of appointing Kenya's next cabinet secretaries? To begin with, the President will hand over his list of nominees to the Speaker of the National Assembly.
Your government shall be held to account.
The Speaker will then table the names in Parliament, and the Committee on Appointment at this stage will take over the process. This committee will have a well-laid-out structure. 6 members are guaranteed to sit in this committee. The Speaker of the National Assembly, for instance, will be a part of the committee as a moderator. The Deputy Speaker, Majority Leader and his Deputy, as well as the minority leader and their deputy, will also be members. The other members will be MPs selected to sit in the vetting team. The Jubilee side will have a total of 17 members on the committee, while CORD will have 11 members.
From the Jubilee side, our 17 members are already ready. We expect our CORD members to bring their 11 so they can table the joint names on Tuesday afternoon.
Once this committee gets its hands on the cabinet list, it will give the public 7 days to lodge any complaints against the president's choice.
The way we vetted these constitutional office holders, the way we vetted the Attorney General, the way we vetted the Chief Justice, is going to be like that.
But the process doesn't end there. After interviewing the candidates for another week, the committee shall table its report on the floor of the House. The House will then vote on the list, and after that, the nominees will be officially appointed to the cabinet. But what happens if the House rejects some of the names?
I'm sure the president has a fallback to come back and bring some names.
Insiders say the president's list will be announced by Tuesday after Parliament forms this crucial committee on appointments. Ashamwilu, KTN, Sunday night.
Residents of Tana River County have asked President Uhuru Kenyatta to lift the dusk to dawn curfew that was imposed by his predecessor Mwai Kibaki late last year. Now, residents claim that the curfew that was imposed to put to an end a spate of violence between two communities in that area is now affecting the local economy. And as KTN's Catherine Omwanto reports, it's only President Uhuru Kenyatta who can lift the curfew.
The men in red berets are almost synonymous to Tana River County. For 8 months they have roamed the streets by daylight and ruled the same by night. The 6 o'clock curfew imposed in September last year is still in force, and residents say that they are tired.
The curfew brought an economic impact to the people of Tana Delta. More of the Garseni trading center where people exchange their trades. People cannot move, so they are forced to close up at as early as 5 their businesses.
Late last year, retired President Mwai Kibaki sent a contingent of General Service police officers with an order to quell the violence between the Orma and the Pokomo communities that mostly took place at dawn. Even as the officers attempted to disarm the two communities and try to enforce some order through the 6 p.m. curfew, a series of reprisal attacks followed. In January, the contingent was reinforced, and Assistant Administration Police Commander Omar Shure sent to head the operation.
Lakini vile tunafikiria kila mtu alijihami hapa, mkuki, panga, shoka, bunduki, mishale, vile tunafikiria.
Since January, there has been no other attacks, and many of those who were displaced have returned home. But the area is still considered volatile, and a premature lift of the curfew could be detrimental. However, in light of the improved security, outgoing Deputy County Commissioner in Tana River, David Kiprop, says the District Security Committee has forwarded a request to have the curfew removed. Despite the request, residents must still adhere to it, given that by law it's only the President Uhuru Kenyatta who can impose or lift a dusk till dawn curfew. According to Red Cross, the spat of violence between August 2012 and January 2013 cost 184 lives and forced 15,000 people out of their homes. Catherine Omwanto, KTN.
Well, another situation is forcing people out of their homes, and it is the flooding situation. The government has issued a flood alert to residents of Budalangi, Busia County. Deputy Commissioner Abdi Ali Khalif has asked residents to move to safer grounds. The Deputy County Commissioner says the waters of River Nzoia have risen to alarming levels and the river may burst its banks. Rita Tanina has been keeping an eye on the flooding situation in various parts of the country.
As heavy rains continue to pound various parts of the country, in Budalangi, an area that had become synonymous with flooding, the Budalangi dikes have so far managed to withstand the waters of River Nzoia.
The dikes are holding strongly as of now, but we don't know. We have a serious problem with seepage. The seepage may undermine the capacity of the dike to hold the water.
River Nzoia, which causes most of the flooding in Budalangi, is yet to burst its banks, but authorities here say the waters have reached alarming levels.
The water level has reached 5.34, and that is alarming.
The Budalangi District Disaster Committee has now issued an alert to local residents.
People should be ready for any eventuality, and particularly the livestock owners, we advise them to move their livestock to higher grounds.
Farmers here are already feeling the effects of the heavy rains. With hundreds of kilograms of rice in stores, they are worried that their produce may be destroyed.
Ninalima mpunga, nalima na mwele. Na maji ni tele, ni mingi.
In Isiolo County, 5 locations have been cut off and more than 250 households swept away by raging flood waters.
Hata sasa kuna wale wamekuwa displaced, hawana mahali pa kukaa, watoto wanakaa nje, manyumba imefunjwa.
Distribution of relief food to families affected by the floods has been hampered as most villages remain inaccessible.
Barabara na katika wakati mvua yote hakuna kitu nakuja kufika sisi.
Leaders in the area are now appealing to the government to explore all options to ensure residents are cushioned against the effects of floods which occur when the Ewaso Nyiro River bursts its banks.
Labda engineer akiona ya kwamba inawezekana kuweka dikes, basi tuweke hiyo kwa haraka kwa program ya serikali ili dikes iwekwe, maji izuiwe. Ama ikionekana ya kwamba haitawezekana, basi tufanye mpango tusaidie hawa wananchi ili waweze kuhamishwa kwa pahali pa juu kidogo.
Kuna chakula Isiolo na tungependa, kwa sababu hakuna barabara, zile ndege za army ambazo wameanza kazi kutoka juzi waweze kuendelea na hiyo kazi.
Permanent secretaries from the Ministries of Special Programs, Public Health and Sanitation and Regional Development assessed the flood situation in Malindi, Magarini, Tana Delta, Hola, Bura and Garissa districts. The government has put the death toll from floods at 63, with over 35,000 people said to have been displaced by floods in various parts of the country.
We have spent more than 100 million shillings in buying food and distributing both food and non-food items to all the affected persons.
Turkana, Marsabit, West Pokot, Tana River, Kisii, Migori, Garissa, Mandera, Isiolo and Kilifi counties are among the counties worst affected by floods. Drita Tinina, KTN.
Butere girls finally performed their controversial play Shackles of Doom before a packed audience in Mombasa. And it was an absorbing performance that left the audience on their feet at the fall of the curtain. And as KTN's Ferdinand Omondi now reports, critics gave it a thumbs up for its forthright opinion on many ills affecting the country, especially ethnicity and marginalization.
The controversies that surrounded Shackles of Doom attracted a packed audience as Butere girls finally staged their initially banned play. And the piece, which the caught and shackled to perform in its original form, lived up to the hype. The story is set in the land of Kana, where oil has just been discovered, but a group of investors is so keen on the oil that the company CEO Kimani is willing to forcefully marry off his daughter Wamaitha to a local to make headway. The natives, called the True Kanas, welcome Wamaitha's marriage to Lopush. When it happens, the investors are allowed to harvest the oil. But it is during the official opening of the rig that the True Kanas get a rude shock when Kimani's wife, who doubles up as the human resource manager, names none of the locals among the management lineup. The True Kanas protest the marginalization, but the adjustment made in the lineup is even more insulting.
And for purposes of cohesion and integration, we are going to push from this indigenous community. As a security officer,
What follows is an intricate performance that brutally exposes ethnicity, nepotism and marginalization, which had the audience cheering loudly with every situation they identified with. And when they were done,
Shackles
The standing ovation said it all. Among the audience was Mombasa Senator Hassan Omar, who was full of praise for the content.
To understand society, sometimes the society must be bold to face up with some of the most extreme of expressions. We might not like what people say, but we need to respect what they say.
Shackles of Doom was disqualified on grounds that it undermines national cohesion and integration, which was the theme of the year's festival. However, the playwright and director has a contrary opinion.
Let us uproot ethnicity first before we do any other thing, before we start talking about cohesion. We cannot purport to say we want to be united, and yet there are certain people who are disadvantaged.
Ikiwa tutaanza hii mwendo wa reconciliation ama kurudi pamoja, lazima kwanza watu waongee ukweli wao. Lazima watu kwanza waanze kuangalia, waanze kuzungumza ni kwa nini wanadharau watu wengine ama wanachukia wengine.
Many critics have argued that direct, honest discourse like this is what is needed to move the country's agenda forward.
The fact that resources have been at the heart of the social disintegration in this country. Therefore, what in fact this will be, it will also provide fodder for how Uhuru must conceive his government moving forward.
Critics have acclaimed Shackles of Doom as a play that is very forthright in his assessment of the inequities facing this country, perhaps in a very honest and even brutal manner. Perhaps this setting of the play is what might have made the top leadership at the drama festivals uncomfortable, but even NCIC says it is okay to let the people vent. That is the only way for the process of true healing to be achieved. Ferdinand Mondi, KTN at the Aga Khan Hall, Mombasa.
And off the back of that story, we are joined now live by Cleophas Malala. He is, of course, the playwright who produced that Shackles of Doom. Thank you for speaking to us here at KTN. Do you understand at all the concern there was over your play?
Yes, I do understand there was a lot of controversies surrounding the play, but I thank God that these students have been given this opportunity to showcase. I am glad today because Kenyans have seen the truth, because we've exposed the real truth to the Kenyans. So it is upon the citizens of this country to ensure that they embrace the message in that play. That play simply talks about ethnicity. It depicts the way our society has been infested by unequal distribution of resources. We are saying it is time we tackle the bull by its own. We are saying we want to uproot the seed of ethnicity. We want to uproot the seed of tribalism. We cannot purport to talk about cohesion and integration, yet we've not tackled the real issues that are facing us.
Do you think the way you managed, I beg your pardon, let me interject there. Do you think the way you tackled it was the best way? I know a lot of your critics said that there was concern of overusing young minds and exposing them to that kind of ethnicity, and also the question of you singling out a particular community in your play and portraying them as the exploiters. Do you think there was any other better way of doing it?
No, you know, this is art. Art is liberal. We have seen in this festival plays being performed from different ethnic backgrounds. We've seen different cultural bases being explored. Today we saw a play in Maasai setting. Those people were using Maasai names, Maasai songs, Maasai idioms. Yesterday we saw a play from Western Province. It used the Luya cultural base. We saw them using Luya songs, Luya idioms. Why is it a mistake if we choose this one tribe called Kikuyu? We are saying Kikuyus are part of Kenya, and when we use them, it doesn't mean that we don't like them. We appreciate them and we embrace them as a community.
As we wind up with you, sir, what are your thoughts in terms of arts and culture and its role in building national cohesion, and do you feel at all your play has achieved that?
I think Kenya has experienced a new dawn. We must appreciate that the new constitution we promulgated the other day was really of help to us. We've reached the level of freedom of expression. Art has matured, and we want to use art as an avenue to express the evil deeds in our society. I believe Shackles of Doom has started as off, and we are going to see more and more productions tackling the issues affecting Kenya.
Cleophas Malala, thank you so much for your time. Playwright, the man who authored Shackles of Doom.